This morning, I'm going to go over how to use the Zoom In platform, which is where we are doing all of our online work for the rest of the year. So the first thing you need to do to use Zoom In is to go to Google Classroom, where I link the Zoom In link each week. So on your assignment for the week, you'll see the Zoom In link. You'll click on that, and then you'll have to set up an account if you don't already have one. To set up an account, you click on sign up, and you're going to add all of the information for yourself: your first name, your last name, your school email address, a password that you're going to remember. Write it down if you need to, a simple password, and then the student access code. The student access code for my class is capital O Orange, capital L Lakewood 734. I also include this on Google Classroom, but you can write it down right now. Orange Lakewood 734. Then you're going to click on sign up as a student. I'm already signed up, so I'm going to show you just if you go to log in. If you're already signed up, when you go to log in, you'll put your email address in here. Obviously, your password that you remember, and you'll sign in. When you sign in, you're going to see your classes. It says Zoom in your classes. You click on Burn US History, and then these are all the lessons that have been assigned to you this year. So then you'll look for the lesson for the week. The lesson title will be on Google Classroom, so you know what you're looking for. For this one, I'm just going to go to our first lesson so you can see what that's like. So you click on the lesson, and it takes you to it. Each lesson is going to look the same as far as how it's laid out. It always starts with an overview. So you can see at the top, overview. The overview is going to give you a little introduction, a paragraph about what we're going to be studying in this lesson. Underneath the overview is the lesson question. The lesson question, you see it here, that's similar to when Miss Byrne would have our research question, when we'd have the do now on the board, and we'd have our learning target, and we'd have our research question. This is like your research question. So what you are doing this lesson to find out is, why did the US government create this poster in 1943? So that is how you look at your overview. The next section after your overview, and there's nothing for you to write or do in this section, it's just for you to get an introduction to the lesson. The next section is your hook. Your hook is going to be, you say yes, begin. Your hook is going to be a picture or a graph or something to get you thinking about the lesson. You'll look at the hook picture and then you'll do the think about. Again, there's nothing for you to write down or answer here. This is all for you to think about in your brain. You think about it. Miss Byrne can't see your thinking. That's okay. You go to the next section. The next section is the historical context. This section is like when Miss Byrne does a mini lesson with like a PowerPoint slides or some kind of mini lesson to introduce you to the context. And we've studied historical context throughout the year, so you know how we need to know what's going on in history to understand the topic we're studying. What is the context? What's happening in the world? So for historical context, you're going to have several slides. For each slide, if you need to see it bigger, you click on the icon here, and it will pop up for you. You look at the slide, see what it's trying to tell you. This one's telling us about U.S. employment. When you figure out what it's trying to tell you, you're going to read the think about it question and then just think about it. You'll go through each one of the slides. You can just go next section to get to the next slide. You can also see all the slides up here by going to context. When you look at the next section, you read the slide, you think about it, read the think about it question, and go to the next section. You'll go all the way through the historical context slides. There's usually 4 or 5 of them. Looking at each one. And then you'll go on to the next section. When you get to the end of historical context, this is where you're going to take your first note. You add note here, the green, and this is where you're going to type in your answer. This is what Miss Byrne can read. So this is how I can see you've completed your work, and I can know that you're on